Korea. It's always been a pretty hot button issue up until literally everything else, so it's hard to argue that the events that have transpired in the region aren't leaving an undeniable impact on our society for generations to come.
Is it bad that I want to squish Kim Jong-un's cheeks despite the fact that he has a nuclear warhead?
Us filthy Americans have always been fascinated by Asian culture, from stylizing our media based off their design tropes to
What the heck is hentai?
we've been culturally appropriating in air quotes for as long as we've had the ability, but surprisingly the music of these foreign cultures has had a troubled time getting over to the States. And when a song from someplace other than America does get on the charts, we always see it as a novelty, unlike everywhere else where they just kinda had to accept American culture into their lives.
In the late 90s to early to mid 2000s, when it was more difficult to find songs you're interested in, other countries' acts did start appearing on the US charts.
We've pretty much always had music from other countries, but it was exceedingly rare, and it usually was only because the song was so weird to our brainwashed American eyes that we have it on repeat for the rest of the year. The predominant regions of choice were usually places like Germany, Britain, or
Mexico.
And to clarify, this isn't saying anything about the quality of the artists themselves, although it can be iffy at times. As I said, it's a novelty. Either these artists are only known to the general public for that one song, or it's the rare occasion where they would have been megastars no matter where they came from.
The formers could be competent music making, but they just didn't have that spark that captivated teenage girls like all the other stars did. That was, of course, until they showed up.
Korean pop music, or K-pop, has become the new thing people get weirdly angry about online. I personally haven't had any experience with it up until recently after some second-hand exposure from it trickling into other media I enjoy. I've always abstained from having an opinion on it because I understand the vitriol that comes from either side of the discussion. The fans of K-pop have a well-warranted stigma online, and the people who openly, and frankly shove in people's faces, that they dislike K-pop are pursued and berated by the fans as soon as their opinions are made public. The hatred has dulled down to a mild annoyance at this point, but Keemstar is still making hashtags about it, so it isn't truly dead just yet.
It always felt like a strange amount of anger for something as harmless as this. And I've always wanted to examine why. So to start off this investigation, I went to the most reputable source for public opinion that one could find. My Twitter followers.
The general consensus from my eloquently created Twitter poll seems to be that most people just aren't interested in the music, and those who have listened still aren't interested but enjoyed the experience.
Of course, this isn't really conclusive since all my followers are degenerates, but it does point to the music not being the key issue. Having listened to some songs from the more popular artists, I would see how it would annoy some, but for the most part it seems pretty harmless.
Wait, so you actually sat through a K-pop song for this?
Well, of course, I can't just make a judgment on a piece of media without researching and digesting enough of it to be fully informed. What am I, me from 3 years ago?
Alright, yeah, that seems reasonable. Our top story today, popular TikTok star Bronze Show is a Nazi.
Alright, no more beating around the bush, since that's illegal in a majority of states. We all know why people have this disdain for K-pop even though they haven't experienced it yet. I know it, you know it, it's obviously Gangnam Style.
When talking about the history of K-pop, people always ask me, hey, what about Gangnam Style? And I'm always like, we don't talk about such blasphemous things in this house, young man. But that is true. Gangnam Style was the internet and the international discourse's first big taste of the K-pop lifestyle, albeit not being the best first impression. But unlike other foreign meme songs to come out, this one struck a different chord with people. It had that strange energy that defined those kinds of songs, but it kept a semblance of a structure and was generally regarded as an overplayed but competently created piece of music. It was weird, yes, but not in an off-putting way. It simply showcased the culture of Korea in an exaggerated and ridiculous fashion, and it succeeded in drawing the attention of overseas audiences.
So good job, Gangnam Style. You're not a complete failure to human society. You're only like 98% failure. Although it's weird to say that the precedent for modern culture was created by a man who was air-humped in an elevator, but hey, that hasn't stopped us before.
Now, I can make up excuses to appreciate memes from 2012 all I want, but you're here for my opinions on the music for some reason. So let's discuss one of the more popular examples of this craze, Boy With Love by the famous Korean boy band British Tea Store. They've obviously had success before this, including several #1 hits, but most agree that this is the song that truly cemented "Buy Tylenol, Sandra" into our modern culture.
And how exactly did they bring these boys out of the fandom bubble of mediocre reception?
Why, they did what any reasonable hitmaker would do and just slapped a Halsey on it. I mean, come on, that's the best they could do when they already have 2 built-in Pitbull verses.
Well, that's pretty cool. Seems kind of weird to have a rap verse this early, but alright. Wait, didn't we just do this? Seems kind of like a weird tonal shift to have from the beginning, isn't it? Oh, come on. Nah, I'm just kidding, he isn't really there. But in a way, Pitbull's always with us. In here.
If there's any way I could describe Bring Me the Horizon Sucks, is that they were perfectly timed. Their style, along with other similar groups, invokes a lot from the modern landscape of pop music. Those polished and basic electronic melodies with ear-catching vocal riffs that convey relaxation or somberly triumphant emotions are all the rage in newer acts. And those marshmallow fluff lyrics about having a relationship have always been a staple of pop music people hate but is somehow still popular even with that language barrier. In fact, I bet if we translate this song, we'll see that it's the same lyrics we get in all these mushy love songs that we've seen. See, told her. So the sound of Bang the Toxanson was definitely formulated at the right time for the right audience, that audience being not me, although this one doesn't have any underlying feeling of being happy in spite of the state of the world, so I'll have to dock it some points. Even still, there are some aspects of the style that I do have gripes with.
My main issue is that although it is catchy and unalienating enough to be enjoyed by a majority of people, there isn't really anything stand out about it. That goes for the song and the group.
They both draw enough inspiration from the modern pop scene not to succumb to the "that's so weird, right? Man, I'm gonna run this joke right into the ground," but it never goes far enough with anything to make itself distinct. It keeps blending in my head with so many other pop songs with that same feel, and even songs from their own discography. It feels like they were trapped in a room with a marketing team constantly saying, "Oh, the kids love that Travis Scott guy, make a song like him after you escape," and this group was the result. It doesn't help that the members of the group themselves don't have that much variety either. I mean, seriously, they all look like the bad boy with the heart of gold of the group. How am I supposed to tell these apart?
And no, I'm not saying that because all Asians look the same. I'm saying that because all boy band members look the same. And that's just a fact. And that seems to be the main negative factor for me, and I'm assuming other people as well. Their entire presence just seems so manufactured and market-driven that it's hard to take them seriously and give them a fair shot. And while I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy the songs that I heard from them and other K-pop groups, the fact that they were systematically created to be enjoyed by people like me is really off-putting. And of course I can't speak for everyone, but that's just why I personally don't actively listen to them. So in conclusion, I finally learned that this video had no point. I just kind of felt like rambling. Although it did give me a good perspective on both sides who feel strongly about this topic, I personally don't really care enough to see myself picking one or the other. So in the end, not much progress was made, but I'm glad I wasted 9 minutes of your time. I mean, come on, this is my first video in like months. You gotta give me something.
Well, looks like David's an idiot and forgot to write an outro, so I guess I'm here. Look over there. That's a cool video, right? Should probably check it out. Oh, what's over there to my right? That looks like a playlist. If you want to see David talk about more things that are probably stupid, check that out. Alright, I'm gonna go drink.